When people think of wealth, they often picture coins, currency, or gold. But the Mayan civilization, one of the most advanced cultures in the ancient world, created prosperity on a massive scale without relying on traditional money. Their wealth was measured not only in material goods, but also in community strength, agricultural abundance, and knowledge. Unlike many ancient economies that rose and fell on coins and precious metals, the Mayans developed a system of wealth creation that was practical, sustainable, and deeply tied to their environment and culture. This may sound impossible. How could a great civilization thrive without what we consider money? But the Mayans built massive cities, traded over long distances, supported a class of artisans and intellectuals, and maintained flourishing markets, all without the central role of minted coins. Instead, they relied on barter, symbolic commodities like cacao, and a strong emphasis on social and agricultural wealth. Their example shows us that prosperity is not always about paper bills or bank accounts, but about systems that sustain life and society. Let us dive into 11 powerful insights on how the Mayans built wealth without money, uncovering secrets that still have surprising relevance for today's world. Before we continue, I wish to let you know that if you want to strategically leverage on ancient wealth wisdom to build and grow generational wealth, you can visit us at ancientwealthwisdom.com after watching this video to check out our best curated ancient wealth building wisdom resources. Or you can check the description and the first comment below for the link. Now to our video, how the Mayans built wealth without money. 1. Wealth through agricultural abundance. The foundation of Mayan prosperity was agriculture. The fertile lands of the Yucatan and surrounding regions allowed them to grow staples like maize, beans, and squash. Having abundant food meant security, stability, and the ability to support large populations. Wealth was measured not in coins, but in the ability to feed families and communities. A farmer with surplus maize had both power and influence, as his crops could be exchanged for tools, crafts, or labor. Food was the ultimate currency in Mayan society. This agricultural wealth supported not only survival, but also specialization. Because farming produced surpluses, other members of society could focus on building temples, developing writing systems, and advancing astronomy, forms of wealth that lasted far beyond harvests. 2. The power of cacao as currency. While the Mayans did not mint coins, they did use cacao beans as a form of symbolic currency. Cacao was highly prized, not only as the basis for chocolate drinks, but also as a marker of status and wealth. Cacao beans could be traded in markets for everyday goods, from food to textiles. Records show that even small transactions could be made using cacao, making it one of the closest things to money in their system. This practice reveals the ingenuity of the Mayans in finding value in natural resources. Unlike gold, cacao was both useful and consumable, tying wealth directly to daily life and culture. 3. Barter as the engine of exchange. The Mayans relied heavily on barter for trade. Farmers, artisans, and merchants exchanged goods directly, with value determined by need and scarcity. This system worked remarkably well in markets where everyone brought something to contribute. For example, a farmer with maize might trade with a potter for cooking vessels, while a hunter might exchange animal skins for textiles. This created a network of mutual reliance that strengthened communities. Barter may sound primitive, but it allowed the Mayans to build a highly flexible economy. Without coins, wealth was not hoarded, but circulated constantly, ensuring that prosperity stayed tied to active exchange. 4. The marketplaces as wealth hubs. Mayan cities were famous for their bustling marketplaces. These were not just centers of trade, but also places of social connection and political influence. Wealth was built by participating actively in these hubs of exchange. Markets brought together farmers, artisans, and traders from distant regions. Exotic goods like jade, obsidian, feathers, and salt could be found alongside everyday staples. Participation in markets allowed local communities access to luxuries and necessities alike. These marketplaces proved that wealth was not about stockpiling resources, but about connecting with others. The Mayan markets embodied the idea that prosperity flows through relationships. 5. knowledge as a currency. The Mayans were masters of astronomy, mathematics, and writing. This intellectual wealth was as valuable as material goods. Priests and scribes held immense power because their knowledge guided agriculture, religious rituals, and governance. Calendrical knowledge, for example, was vital for determining planting and harvest times. Those who controlled this wisdom essentially controlled the economy of food production. This shows us that wealth is not always tangible. In Mayan society, knowledge was a form of capital that could influence entire kingdoms. 6. Tribute and redistribution. Mayan rulers built wealth not through minting coins but through tribute systems. Conquered regions or allied cities sent goods such as maize, textiles, jade, and cacao to central authorities. This wealth was redistributed to support the elite class, maintain armies, and fund construction projects like temples and palaces. Tribute ensured that wealth flowed upward, but also kept the state functioning. This system reveals a lesson about wealth as circulation. Tribute was not static accumulation, but a cycle that sustained political and religious power. 7. Jade and obsidian as status wealth. Though the Mayans lacked coins, they did value luxury items that symbolized wealth and power. Jade, obsidian, and rare feathers were prized materials often reserved for the elite. Jade, in particular, was seen as eternal and divine. It was used in jewelry, masks, and offerings, acting as a visible marker of prosperity and status. Obsidian, valued for its sharpness, was both practical for tools and symbolic of elite control over resources. These items functioned as markers of wealth, much like modern luxury goods. They reminded everyone that prosperity was not only about survival, but also about symbols of influence. 8. Communal labor as wealth. The Mayans practiced a system of communal labor where communities came together to build temples, roads, and irrigation systems. This collective effort created infrastructure that enriched society as a whole. Rather than focusing on individual accumulation, wealth was built through cooperation. Large projects like pyramids or ball courts were impossible without communal labor, yet they provided cultural and economic benefits for generations. This shows that shared effort was a form of wealth creation. Communities that invested labor into collective prosperity ensured their survival and growth. 9. Trade networks beyond borders. The Mayans were not isolated. They engaged in long-distance trade with regions as far as central Mexico and Central America. Through these networks, they exchanged jade, salt, cacao, textiles, and exotic bird feathers. These trade routes brought in goods that could not be produced locally, enriching Mayan cities and elevating their status in the region. They also allowed cultural ideas and innovations to spread. This extensive trade shows how wealth is not only built at home, but expanded through external connections. The Mayans understood the power of exchange across borders. 10. Religious offerings as wealth circulation. Religion played a central role in Mayan life, and offerings to the gods were seen as a necessary form of wealth redistribution. Goods like jade, cacao, or food were sacrificed in rituals to ensure divine favor. Though it may seem like waste, this system reinforced social cohesion. By dedicating part of their wealth to the gods, the Mayans symbolically tied prosperity to cosmic balance and communal harmony. This highlights how wealth was not purely economic, but spiritual. Prosperity was believed to be sustained through giving, not hoarding. 11. Time as a measure of prosperity. For the Mayans, time itself was a form of wealth. Their complex calendars measured cycles of planting, rituals, and cosmic events. Mastery of time ensured that resources were managed effectively. Farmers who planted in alignment with calendrical knowledge had better harvests, while rulers who observed cosmic cycles maintained legitimacy. Time was a tool that safeguarded prosperity. In this sense, the Mayans remind us that managing time wisely is one of the greatest forms of wealth creation, a lesson that resonates strongly today. Lessons for the modern world. The Mayans built wealth without relying on coins or paper money, proving that prosperity is about more than currency. They grounded wealth in food security, social cohesion, knowledge, and shared responsibility. Their system worked for centuries, supporting massive cities and complex societies. Though eventually disrupted, their methods reveal how wealth can be built on relationships and resources rather than just money. Today, as we rethink what financial freedom means, the Mayan model offers a provocative lesson. True prosperity is not in bank accounts alone, but in how communities sustain and support one another. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and share this video if you found it insightful and helpful. And subscribe to this channel to continue discovering and learning ancient wisdom and secrets that you can leverage on to build generational wealth in today's world. Also, turn on the bell notification so you're always the first to be notified whenever a new video is uploaded here. And don't forget to visit us at ancientwealthwisdom.com to check out our best curated ancient wealth building secrets and wisdom resources. Or check the description and the first comment below for the link. See you in our other videos.